You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
It's Edmonton against the team they last played in the Stanley Cup. Oh, wait. No. That's Florida, not Carolina. Let's get into it with the lead. Yeah, we no longer have the whole 06 Cup final rematch. Who cares? I'm all about when the 2024 Cup final rematch happens.
Who do you hate more, Panthers or Hurricanes?
Panthers.
Vancouver.
Nice.
Yeah, good. Great answer. Welcome into the show live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. 3 locations in the Edmonton area, Sherwood Park, St. Albert, and Kingsway Mall. It is a short board giant game day edition of the show. Very fired up for tonight. The Oilers are back on home ice. Shout out to our friends at Short for the Giant. We're going to have a giant question coming up in just a few minutes. We also are going to have 2 guests joining us today on the game day. Yes, I see Christopher Palmer. No Jay on a game day. Hey, he's going to swing by at 12:30. In the meantime, Coomzy's going to swing by in about 10 minutes. He's going to pop on, give us his take on everything going on in Oilerland. What's up?
Go back to that comment, please.
I know his profile picture is all weird.
What is going on there? Oh, it's trying to show off that it says Oilers Nation.
Yeah, he must be, because no one else is like that.
No. Interesting.
It's a lot going on there.
Just a suggestion. Next time, wear the hat forward.
Solid point.
He kind of got you there, Christopher Palmer. It's kind of got you there. Let's get into the YouTube chat really quick. Hear what the people are saying. YouTube chat brought to you by Odd Company and the all-new Nation Beer. Odd Company is one of my favorite breweries in the city. They are absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of them. Odd Company stands tall above the rest, and we are very happy to be partnering with them for the all-new Nation Beer, the light, crisp, clean, everyday lager. Make it your beverage on game day or any day. Nation Beer, everyday lager, Odd Company Brewing, 2 locations in the Edmonton area, perfect for the next big game, which is tonight. JT is in. He says, game night, boys. I feel this will be another hard-fought match, but the Oilers will take it in overtime. Dry to McDavid this time. I like that little game day prediction. Connor McDavid, Carolina is where it turned around last year. Depends how you view turned around. Carolina was rock bottom last year. That game in Carolina right before they played Washington. That's where we had the McDavid Draisaitl tap.
They won that game. 6-1.
Didn't they lose 6-3?
They lost 6-3 in was that?
Yeah,
in
that's
Carolina?
the game before Washington.
They lost 6-3 in Carolina. And then that's when we talked to the guys and they said in the room, they said, enough. We're turning it around now and we're playing good defense. Because on that, it was a 4-game road trip, right?
And then they went on the 8-game streak.
But it was the 4-game road trip where they lost 6-4 to Tampa Bay, 5-3 to Florida, and then 6-3 to Carolina. McDavid and Draisaitl gave their little taps on the bench. It was right early on in the Chris Knobloch era.
November 22nd, that game was.
That is correct.
Check out game notes on Oilersnation.
There you go. But yeah, after the Oilers played the Canes last year, they won 4 straight games to end the month of November and then would start December with 4 more wins as well, one of which was a 6-1 victory over the Carolina Hurricanes. So there's your little facts on the way these two teams matched up last season.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Zach Hyman got a hat trick in that game.
He did.
Hopefully we can get a point tonight. That would be nice.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Steve is in. I heard they got the Super Chat charity sorted. Tyler Yaremchuk Community Beer Fund. JR said my wedding fund as well. I would take it. But no, I did hear yesterday we are probably early next week going to be able to tell you who the charity partner is for our Super Chat and everything we're doing this year. Couple of questions about the Oilers lineup that we'll get to in a little bit. Robert is in, hoping the boys come out swinging like the Leafs last night. That's the toughness that wins a cup, as much as it pains me to say. Death taxes and the Leafs looking like a cup contender in October. Am I right, everybody?
First time. I think that's the first time I've seen Robert comment. So thanks for commenting, Robert. Was it a good game last night? Did the Leafs? I know they won.
You didn't watch Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey?
No.
It was.
I wait for Thursdays.
The broadcast was really good, actually.
Was it? Oh yeah.
It was solid. I liked it.
That's good. They
5-2.
Just one game last night. I mean, if you're gonna pick one game to put on Amazon Prime, it's a good matchup to do it.
Yeah. Maynard is in and says thoughts on the Prime game. I thought it was done really well. I liked the intermission panel. I liked the score bug. I liked the general presentation of the game. The only thing I didn't like is, so before the game, like 15 minutes before, you could just like watch warm-ups, and then they had the cameras. There's no pregame shows, just cameras in the arena,
Oh,
like
interesting.
capturing. And I was like, for a playoff game, I think that's sick. I don't know if that's needed for a regular season game.
So there's no conversation over the.
It was just the ice and like warm-ups, and then like the
Oh.
pregame ceremony and stuff.
Do they have an emission panel?
Yeah, it was Mark Messier was on it,
Oh, ever heard of him?
and Andy Petrillo.
Well, my favorite part about it, though, from what I saw online, is they finally got the crowd noise bumped up, unlike what other platforms do. Leafs fans sang
Yes.
the arena.
So if you missed that, Leafs fans claim there was a massive conspiracy because they were like, whoa, the crowd was so much louder. Stephen Ellis, our friend, texted me and was like, this is the loud, and he was at the game, by the way. He said, this is the loudest the crowd has been for a regular season game in a long time. I think he said like a decade. Okay. Leafs fans on Twitter said, no, it's a conspiracy. Sportsnet and TSN have been turning down the crowd noise to make Leafs fans look worse.
Well, Leafs fans not at the game criticizing. Yeah.
It, again,
It's
hilarious.
very silly.
Very silly. Okay, let's keep going along. I see a lot of comments about the way the Oilers are going to line up tonight. So we are not going to waste any time. We're ripping through segments in the first 7 minutes of the show, but it's a game day. We got to get moving. Our lineup report is brought to you by Square. If you run a restaurant, you're too busy for this ad. You're thinking about how to get more orders flowing, new locations open. You need more customers, and you need to keep them coming back. So really, you're already thinking about Square. Square Restaurant Tech has already helped more than 400,000 restaurants do all of those things and more. So when you're thinking about your restaurant, think bigger, think Square. Go to square.ca or click the link in our bio and see why Square is big in restaurants. Speaking of big changes to the Oilers lineup. Let's start with the forward group. We had a general idea of how this was all playing out last night. Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, Skinner, Draisaitl, Arvidsson. The change comes in the bottom six. Derek Ryan will center Connor Brown and Matthias Janmark. Adam Henrique will center Corey Perry and Vasily Podkolzin. I don't really think there is a first, second, third, and fourth line. I think there is a top six and a bottom six. I wouldn't read too much into the way Henrique's line and Ryan's line are listed. But what do you make of going Janmark and Brown with Derek Ryan and giving Perry and Podkolzin a bit of an offensive kick in the behind and pairing them up with Adam Henrique?
Yeah, I like it. To be honest, I do think that third line, like you said, it's a bit of a top six, bottom six, but that third line really is. The fourth line isn't. There's no way. It's not going to be. It's probably going to be a spot that they rotate McDavid and Draisaitl through, to be honest, with Derek Ryan. It just is what it is with him, right? Like,
Yeah.
you play 7 minutes, they find some spots to get McDavid and Draisaitl out there a bit more, and I think that's just going to be it. I think Perry and Podkolzin, like, Podkolzin, obviously, I don't know if he has a point. He definitely doesn't have a goal. He's been solid. Like, I actually don't mind his game at all.
Thought he had a good game against Dallas.
Perry's banged home a couple already this year. Obviously, had some kicked off too. So I think that's good. I do think they needed to change quite a few things. So I don't mind these lines, but I mean, the headline is in the blue line.
It is Ekholm, Bouchard, Kulak, Stetcher, and then right in the middle of that, Dermott and Nurse. And you might be thinking, why is that a big deal? Well, look at the way they're listed. Dermott's on the left side, and Darnell Nurse is going to be playing on his offside. He's a left-handed defenseman. He will be playing on the right side of the ice tonight. This is perplexing to me for a couple of reasons. One of them being he's never done this. I actually think he's been playing good hockey for the last couple of games, and you're going to now take him and put him in a spot that he presumably isn't all that comfortable being in. I honestly don't understand why Emerson's not in for Dermott and you're not going Nurse, Stetcher again. I thought they were fine.
Yeah, I think they were fine too. I didn't hate them. I mean, the numbers aren't glowing by any means, but do you really expect them to be? It's Nurse and Stetcher at the end of the day. Like,
they just have to be serviceable. They're a Band-Aid right now.
Totally. So,
I feel like this has a chance to blow up in their face.
Well, I think when I was at the Calgary game and they had Nurse and Dermott there, they were kind of switching sides a bit too. So I don't know if it's that big of a deal at the end of the day. One thing I will say is Nurse is probably the most athletic player the Oilers have. So if someone's going to be able to kind of go in a position uncomfortable to him, like at least he's athletic enough to like be able to recover. And he's very mobile defenseman. So you've tried everyone else. Why not try Nurse? I guess that's kind of my side of it. It's just like, yeah, like let's see what happens. Maybe we've been playing him in the wrong position all the time. Maybe this is how he earns that paycheck. Probably not, but I believe in him because of his athleticism.
M Bub says more brain dead Nurse hate. We are not hating on Darnell Nurse right now.
I'm pro Nurse.
I'm actually
There's some people in the chat who were giving him.
Yeah, maybe that's
He's been good.
He's been fine this year. He's
Totally
been
fine.
All right, let's continue this conversation. That was our lineup report brought to you by Square. Head to square.ca to find out how Square helps restaurants. Let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about what makes them Edmonton's best by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca. Residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. Star Mechanical can do it all. M Bub says, not you guys, the chat. Thank you for having good listening skills, because I was worried you were talking about us, and I was going to take great offense to it. Joining us on the Star Mechanical guest line today is our boy Coomzy, Hot Honey, back for his first appearance of the regular season. Coomzy, how's it going?
Hot Honey, it's a Thirsty Tuesday. That actually works this time.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Thirsty Tuesday. We love a Thirsty Tuesday.
And what do we do on Thirsty Tuesdays? We drink Nation beer.
Yes.
Have you gotten your lips on it yet?
I have. I've had a handful of Nation beers, and I enjoyed it. It goes down really easy.
It does. Everyday lager for every game day or just any day in general. Let's start with what I always love starting with when you're popping the show. What are we expecting from the Blue Jays this winter?
Oh, man.
Bregman?
Hopefully not. The last time they signed a Houston Astros star to a long-term contract, it hasn't gone particularly well. So I'd avoid that. I think there's a lot of holes for them to fill, so I don't think one big free agent signing is going to be the move.
I like Bregman.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Really? Is he going to leave Houston?
Probably. They're not going to pay him. Just they didn't pay George Springer either.
Or Carlos Correa.
No, and they look good for doing all those things.
How are the teams looking who signed those players?
Minnesota is one. Minnesota's all right.
They're fine.
They beat the Jays in the playoffs a couple years ago with Correa. And then how are the Jays looking with Springer? I mean, it was a good year and a half. It was the season in 2021 when they played in Buffalo and Dunedin. That was fun. It was good.
The only problem is you gave him, a 4 or 5 year deal, 6 year deal?
Yeah, no, they're only halfway through it now. I think there's 3 years done, 3 years left, by my understanding.
Yeah, not great.
It's not the best, but
Aiden says give Soto the bag. We're not doing that.
$1 billion. We'll all pay double on Rogers. Fine. Your cable's twice as much, and we got Juan Soto, and he's going to pitch as well, whether he likes it or not. Whether he likes it or not, he's going to be Shohei Ohtani. They did that all last year. They Rogers went to their shareholders, and they unlocked a big briefcase full of money. And they have to do it for Soto this year, but they have to convince those people that he's a pitcher.
If you're wondering why we're talking baseball, Coomzy runs Blue Jays Nation for us. He's the managing editor of the website. That is your correct title, right? Yep. Managing editor. What do you make of the World Series matchup, Yankees-Dodgers?
I mean, when you look at it at a glance and you're a Blue Jays fan or a fan of I'm not going to call them a small market team, but a team that doesn't win like that, then you're thinking, two big name teams in the mix. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of star players. It should be fun. Like it's hard to predict who's going to win this. It'll be interesting regardless.
Yeah, it's better than Rangers Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
but it's not as good as like a Subway Series would have been.
The Mets would have been fun.
I think it's best when there's a David versus Goliath element to it, and this is just Goliath versus Goliath. Let's get into the hockey now. You walked in just as we were having our conversation about Darnell Nurse on the right side of the blue line. I feel like come trade deadline time, halfway through the season, end of the season, whatever milestone you want to pick, we're going to look back and be like, remember doing that? That was weird. Like, I don't think this is a long-term thing.
No, I'd be really shocked if this lasts for more than a game, a few games. There's no reason to think that Travis Dermott and Darnell Nurse specifically are going to be a pairing long-term, but I think one thing they're kind of going for here is there a possibility that Darnell Nurse can be a second pairing right defenseman, and then at the trade deadline, you go out and find a left-handed defenseman instead? Maybe if Nurse can be as good or within the same realm on the right side, then there might just be more left-handed defensemen available on the trade market. I can't think of too many good. Like, there isn't a Chris Tanev this year. Remember last year, It was, late October, we were already talking about acquiring Chris Tanev, and there just isn't one this year. That D-man might be a left-handed D-man this year.
Can I throw on sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, I think that's a fair point.
I'm going to throw out an idea, and you guys are not going to like it, but I'm going to say it anyway. What if this really works with Nurse on the right side, and they just push up Kulak, and then your top four is obviously the regular two, and then Kulak and Nurse, and then obviously your bottom pairing is probably Dermott, Stetcher / Emberson. That wouldn't be the worst thing ever. Like that would like you'd look at your top 4 and be like, okay, that's solid. That's fine. That'll get us by. And you play the other two, like, I don't know, 13, 14 minutes, whatever it is. Not crazy. It's not crazy. I mean, we're picking at straws.
And they do they did
Grasping.
do the grasping. They did do the Nurse Kulak thing in the playoffs with Kulak flipped
Yeah.
over. So maybe you're right. Maybe this is a precluder to that. I still think they're pushing Emberson out quickly. And I thought they would have more patience with him, considering he's the youngest of the bunch and he's coming in with presumably some upside. He's going to be healthy scratched again tonight. I don't know. And this is maybe another conversation of like, they seem to be panicking and switching early. We had a comment on the Twitter, enough with the blender. I would have liked to see like if you wanted Emberson and Nurse, why didn't you give them 5 games and see what they can develop into?
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I mean, we've all complained about this for years, and it's when the Oilers have 2 bad games in a row, or even, they're into their second bad game after having 1 bad game, then Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are immediately together no matter what thing they had been trying to do. And it seems like the thing is the same with the blue line this year, where outside of Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm, it's just let's spin these things around and see what looks good for a minute. And it's, you're not going to be able to generate any chemistry. Like, look at all the new names that have come in this year. They had, 3 players from the blue line last year leave, and then new players come in this year. And like, there hasn't been enough time, because think back to their preseason. It was, they were playing pond hockey games during the preseason. They weren't really using that time to actually play at the pace they were supposed to be playing, which fair enough, the deep playoff run, but the Oilers need to be using this early season time to actually give guys a chance to play together and form some chemistry and understand each other's games, so that they know what they have later in the season. Because we still don't know, like, is it the 2 right D we need? Is it the 2 left D? Is it somebody else for the top pairing? Who knows? But they're not really trying Emberson how we all expected them to do it when they made that move in the offseason.
That Emberson Kulak pairing was actually not bad.
And I thought they kept looking better too.
Yeah, like just looking at their numbers, they played just over 50 minutes together. Corsi was at 60%. They were on the ice, 1 goal for, 2 against. So shots were in favor of them as well. Like, pretty solid for a third pairing.
Yeah. They're from Chile here. These are consequences of bad starts. Just like last year, being sub 500 has taken away opportunities to experiment. I get that. You don't want the season to, get out of hand like it did last season. So you load up McDavid and Draisaitl and you keep tinkering with the blue line. But again, I just think there maybe is a better way to do it. And maybe this is where we shift the conversation to, if the big guns were producing and the power play was producing, maybe you have 1 or 2 more wins at this point, and you are comfortable experimenting with an Emberson in the top 4 for a little bit longer, or in the top 6 for a little bit longer. What do you make of the power play struggles so far? They're not in sync. They're not speaking the same language. Would you be making a change here, or do you think it's patience?
Yeah, that's a weird one, because we haven't really seen this power play struggle for years, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that the penalty kill hasn't been as good this year as it was last season or into the playoffs, because, you lose Cody Ceci, you lose Vinny Desharnais as well, and those are key players in your penalty kill. But when you look at the power play, it's all the same guys still in the mix, and it just seems like, are they all just snake bit at the exact same time? I'm not sure what change it would take to get this going. Is like a personnel change, put someone different in front of the net. Like Zach Hyman so far this season has looked cold, and there hasn't really been very many times during Zach Hyman's tenure with the Oilers that he's looked cold, but there isn't Evander Kane to slot out there and throw in front of the net right now. I'm not really sure who it's going to be. Like, who's that big body you're going to put out there instead to maybe bury the puck? I think we just got finished having this conversation about not wanting to blend. I think it might just be ideal, or it might just be necessary to give the number 1 unit that's been good forever, good for years, just give them 10 games to see. And then if it's after 10 games, then I think maybe you got to switch something up.
Yeah, and it's game 7 here tonight. There are only 3 teams in the NHL who have fewer than 2 power play goals at this point. The Oilers have 1, the Ducks have 0, and the Sabres have 0. Philip Gustafsson, the Wild goalie, has more power play goals than, or just as many power play goals as the Edmonton Oilers.
Makes you think.
Makes you think.
I think of the power play too, and different stages. But remember back to the Stanley Cup final, they were not very good then either.
Nope.
Draisaitl injured. If you remember, like a lot of those going for one time is just missing them in general.
Mhm.
I went back and looked. Their last like legit power play game was Game 6 against Dallas. I believe they went 2 for 2, and the night before they went 2 for 3. They did have a 2-goal performance in the final against Florida, but that was when McDavid went absolute nuclear to the Perry one. Since then, they've not had more than 1 goal on the power play.
Yeah. I dug up some numbers for a piece that's going up at Oilers Nation at 4:00 this afternoon. And I talked about the block shots. They're not getting pucks through all that much. They've had 20 shot attempts blocked in 28 minutes of power play time this year. If you convert that to a per 60 rate, that's about 42 blocked shots per 60 minutes. Last season, that number was 26. So per 60 minutes of power play, they're having 16 more shots blocked per 60, which is wild. One guy who's obviously a culprit of that, Evan Bouchard, last year, he averaged 12.45 shots on goal per 60 minutes on the power play. That number right now is down to 7.53. His blocked shots per 60, 15 and 11 is the comparison there. So Bouchard's got to do a better job of getting shots through, but I also think that speaks to them not being as dangerous moving the puck. Teams can sit in their box or their diamond, whichever way they're attacking it, and clog up the middle of the ice because the Oilers aren't pulling threats from other areas. They're not finding the seams that you need to find if you want to pull guys out of position. So there's a whole bunch of issues. The one thing I'll say, and I made this point the other day, I don't think Nuge, like Hyman hasn't been good, Bouchard hasn't been good, Draisaitl's tried hero plays. Nuge is just the guy that's easy to pull off because of where he is on the ice. If you switch Nuge for Skinner, does it just rewire everyone's brains a little bit? Does it force McDavid and Draisaitl out of what's comfortable? And that's the same 5-man unit that's been together for years now. Does it pull them out of what's comfortable and just force them to look at things different? Does Skinner handle the puck a little bit differently? Can he find seams? Like, that's kind of my overarching point to end my rant.
I don't know if it would be Skinner. I worry about bringing somebody new in that's like a puck facilitator. And then, like I talked about earlier, it's the chemistry or the familiarity you're lacking. But somebody else in the comment section, when I was looking, brought up Corey Perry playing in front of the net, which in Zach Hyman's spot might make some sense because, I mean, we haven't really seen it much yet with Corey Perry's time with the Oilers, but we all know from when he was with the Ducks, going in front of the net, creating chaos. And if the Oilers are having a really difficult time getting pucks through, then maybe having him in the slot in the box, just there hacking and slashing, moving the puck towards the net, shoving guys out of the way. Maybe that's the move because, I don't know, they just look like the power play looks slower this year than in previous years. And I wonder if is it just the other teams are seeing the Oilers and they're just giving them their best effort, or is it a whole different strategy that the power play has been the same thing for too long? But I think Corey Perry might actually be the answer here.
He's had a great start. Someone said Jeff Skinner hasn't earned it. I think he's been one of their most consistent forwards this year. Daryl Sutter says teams were eventually going to figure out the power play. It could simply be teams are adjusting better. And I mean, to bring it back to a baseball analogy, how many times do you see a hitter, Davis Schneider, come up for 10 days? They are dominating. And then teams get tape on them and go, can't hit the fastball. And then it's the hitter's turn to adjust. And it's a longer time frame than that right now, obviously. But maybe teams just have so much tape on the Oilers that it's like, here's how you attack them. Don't chase. Sit back. They'll try to make hero plays and try pick them off. And
I mean, it's been 3 years of the same unit, right?
Dominance.
Eventually, like, it was going to slow down. Again, I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, it's not good by any means, but I do think it'll come around. You can't keep those guys off the score sheet for that long. They're too good.
You're right.
Too good.
Okay, Coomzy, one other area I wanted to hit on with you. It's actually our Sherwood Ford Giant question of the day. It's a Sherwood Ford Giant game day, and our Giant question is brought to you by the hockey fans out at Sherwood Ford. They're hockey fans helping hockey fans. That's why the team at Sherwood Ford is offering exclusive perks to all Nation citizens. Say goodbye to the hassle of car service and enjoy free valet pickup and delivery. Nation Valet, heck yeah. They'll pick it up, service it, and return it to you so you don't waste any of your precious time, and you got more time to watch the big game. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. Stuart Skinner is going to get the start tonight. His numbers haven't been great. We had a comment here in the chat that said, from Adam, that said, sorry, but none of this matters unless we get consistent 9-10 average goaltending. 9-10 is crazy.
906?
I'll take consistent 905, 900. Like, I mean, 9-10 would be great.
That'd be good.
But my question, they went with Pickard. He was great against Nashville at a really solid save percentage. They go to Skinner against Dallas. He was, call it underwhelming. I won't go as far as saying terrible. We did this whole conversation yesterday. Don't need to rehash it. Is there maybe a case for Pickard to go tonight? Does Skinner deserve to get the net back?
I think it's too early to deviate from what the process is. Like, the plan with the Skinner-Pickard combination last season when they were doing well was, you know, Skinner would play 2 or 3 games, then Pickard would play a game. You're not far enough into the season yet to get away from that and do 50-50 split or hot hand or anything like that. I think if you start doing that 7, 8, 10 games into the season, then you're getting into Stuart Skinner's head. No, we don't believe that you're actually good enough to be the starting goalie, and you're back into being a tandem here. And I'm not sure if that's the best way to go through it. I think, the reality is there's going to be ups and downs with goalies, and Skinner's had his ups and he's had his downs as well, but they're going to have to just ride through this with the plan they had. And I think when November rolls around, and if the struggles are still that, then you sit down with the goalies and you say, okay, we're going to change up our play time here, and Pickard's going to get more playing time if he continues to play well, but I wouldn't do that in the middle of the month.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I also think there's a little bit like people are so upset with the goaltending right now. Andre Vasilevsky is an 863. UC Saros' save percentage is in the 800s. Like
Vasilevsky.
Yeah, Vasilevsky's been bad this year, man. I just think sometimes because people follow the Oilers so closely and you're watching every game, you need to have more patience. Goalies have bad games. Like Skinner, maybe his bad stretches are a little bit longer than you'd like. And we saw it last season. And then we saw some struggles against Vancouver in the playoffs. We all know about that. But like, I think most teams with their number one goalie, like you said, don't deviate this quickly. Pittsburgh's doing their thing with Tristan Jarry. There's talk that they were considering putting him on waivers the other day. But that's now been 2 years of him basically having he's had one decent stretch, and it was a short stretch. We're not at that point yet where Stuart Skinner, and he hasn't been bad enough for us to be sitting here being like, he's totally lost the net.
Here's a stat. Only 9 goalies in the NHL have a save percentage over 900 right now.
Really?
That's wild. What do you use as the filter for games played?
Nothing.
So do any of those guys have just one game played?
No, the fewest is 3,
Okay.
which is Joel Hofer. The most is Markstrom, who is the lowest at 902. So it's kind of funny. It's 902 with Markstrom, 914 with Joey Decord, and then the next guy is Hofer at 932.
Wow.
That is such a huge range. And then Ottinger, who the Oilers just saw. And so the top 2 goalies the Oilers have faced this season, Ottinger and Hellebuck, have a 953 and a 952.
When you put it in that perspective, one, only 9 goalies have a save percentage above 900. So again, to the comment of we just need consistent 910, not even a third of the league.
900's average, I think.
Last year,
that
I
might be
think
the
the league average was 898. I think it was below 9. The point is, no 60 or 70% of the league is not getting 900 goaltending right now. And even that, Hofer's only played 3 games. Binnington's below 900 then.
Oh, that was wrong.
Okay.
Because that was just, I don't know why it changed like that. There's not that many more, but
how many is it?
It's
were you sorting by wins?
I don't know what I saw it by. 30.
Okay.
Well, there goes our whole
I'm gonna edit that whole
So much for
segment
that.
out of this episode.
Yeah, we
A lot
got
of
to
them
take that
have only
all up.
played one, like Vermelka, Dennis
1,
Hellaby,
2, 3,
Eric
4.
Comrie.
Yeah, a whole bunch of these have only played one. It's
Yeah.
still 20, but
The
I don't know
average,
how that
for
happens.
us.
the average team save percentage,
Whoops.
the team that is 16th in the NHL right now in all situations save percentage. I know this isn't the perfect average, but the team right in the middle is the Utah Hockey Club with an 886 save percentage. That's 16th.
Oh, okay, so
The
there you
best
go.
team is Dallas. They're at 950. The worst is Colorado at 910. The Oilers are in 30th at 940, ahead of only Nashville and Colorado.
Okay, so it does need to
By
be
the
better.
stats guy.
Yeah, we're just gonna quick note to the social team: don't make any clips of today's giant question. There we go.
I just deleted my timestamps there.
Good call. Good call.
Thank God.
Tough look. You did handle game notes at the site today, so would you like me to give you a chance to redeem yourself?
Well, I'm going to redeem myself slightly right now. I changed it to play 2 or more games, 16.
Yep.
So it's not that bad.
Half the league ain't getting it. Half the league is.
Yeah. Game notes. What do you need from me? Sorry. What do I got?
Yeah, I just giving you a chance to redeem yourself stats wise.
The Carolina Hurricanes only have 12 goals this season.
That's
They've
not great.
only allowed 11. The Carolina Hurricanes, let me get my
Oh, I love when the notebook comes out.
And he licks his finger to turn the page.
I have another stat for you. The Canes are allowing the least amount of
that was
shots.
my stat.
Okay, then go.
I wrote it down.
Okay, I wrote it down too.
Allowed the fewest shots. Second fewest. You get that down?
No.
The Edmonton Oilers.
Okay, low event hockey tonight.
But
Hmm?
they're averaging the 5th most shots for Carolina.
And at 5-on-5, it's the most shots for.
Look at that. You want to hear another stat?
Sure.
Derek Ryan and Jeff Skinner both played for the Carolina Hurricanes.
It's not. That's a fact, not a stat.
Oh, here's a stat for you. Maybe also a fact.
Do you want to hear?
Derek Ryan's rookie season was 2015-16 when he was 29. Jeff Skinner was in his 6th year as a pro
And was younger.
and was 23.
Wow.
Here's another stat.
Yep, those are also
Jeff-
facts. Those
Jeff
are not
Skinner,
stats.
a fact, scored 40 goals as a centerman, according to Hockey Reference, when he was with the Buffalo Sabres. Didn't
Jeff-
know that. Something to think about. For playing Nurse on the right side, maybe Skinner can go center.
Can Nurse be a center?
He's
But here's
athletic
my
enough.
stat. Did you guys know that Jackson Blake, who's tied for second in goals in the Hurricanes, is the son of Jason Blake?
I did know that.
I
That's
had no
wild.
idea.
Game notes.
Didn't know.
Good game.
I
Notes,
didn't know
boys.
until you wrote that in the game notes, and then I saw it, and I was like, "Well,
They-
I'll be damned." I didn't know Jason Blake had a son in the NHL.
Well, dude, because Carolina obviously have Skylar Brindamore too.
And Chris Drury's kid,
Okay,
Jack Drury.
That's what it was. I knew there was a third one. I couldn't remember. So yeah, very interesting.
Fucking Nepo babies.
And they have Jordan Stahl, who I believe is the son of Eric Stahl.
I threw a link to Liam's game notes in the
That
description.
got me so good.
Yeah, I have that down as a fact too. Actually,
People are saying a fact is 100% stat, no difference. I think I'm gonna say there is different. I like Liam's facts, aka stats.
that's all I got. I just had a page in a bit.
Nepo baby, Nepo. This Carolina Hurricanes team, I know for a while they were considered, they're like the analytic darling, young team on the rise. I kind of look at them now and I'm like, they're boring, they're vibeless, and maybe it's
Were
just
they
that-
ever fun though?
I guess
People
not.
said they were. 'cause
But
they
remember
were-
when they did the little celebrations
Yeah, that's
after?
true. That was
and-
pretty fun.
Yeah, the storm surge.
Yeah.
They were trying to make something out of it, and it's just
Like I like Svechnikov, I like Aho, I like Jarvis, I like Natchez. Like they have good players. Their blue line,
You don't like Jackson Blake?
no.
I don't really know him. I think he's a college player, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean,
The blue line's good. Like they're a really solid hockey team. I don't have them in my cup contender inner circle
No.
anymore.
no,
They don't seem like one of those scary teams in the Eastern Conference at all.
No.
Who are those teams now?
the
Florida?
Rangers.
Florida, yep.
Florida and the Rangers, I think.
Florida, the Rangers, Boston. Do
Boston?
you feel that way about Boston?
No.
I don't feel that way about Tampa.
No,
The Leafs, no.
I think Boston will be a tough outcome playoff time.
Yeah, I
They're the
think
big
so
bad
too.
Bruins, right?
Carolina 2-2 right now. They are 6th in the Metro. They're a top 3 team.
They're a playoff team.
Yeah, they're a playoff team.
Yeah,
The,
playoff team. I just
the
wonder if
Devils
they'll-
look good. The Devils look good
Yeah.
with a goalie now.
Washington might be better than them. I know they're obviously better than them right now, but it's only one game. So
Hey.
it's going to be interesting.
Someone in the chat just said Brent Burns has faded into nothing. This is an interesting question that I think people maybe scoff at first, but when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, Brent Burns, Hall of Famer.
No.
He does have a Norris,
Oh,
and usually a Norris gets you in unless.
I mean, Shea Weber's getting in, and Shea Weber, fantastic player.
I think
but
Brent
never-
Burns is a first ballot.
That's
I
what I
think
was
he's
going to
getting
say. Thinking about it now, if Shea Weber gets in, Shea Weber just basically has Olympic medals to his name and
Yeah.
one Stanley Cup.
No Norris. I
No
would like
Norris.
Weber.
I think he finished second once.
Brent Burns
Interesting.
in all time games played by a defenseman, by the end of this season, if he stays healthy, he will be in the top 10 for
He's
all time
still
games
doing
played by a defenseman. And if he can get 70 more points, 70 more points, he'll be top 10 in points. He has a chance, if he can play 2 or 3 more years, to be top 10 in points and games played all time by an NHL defenseman. That's wild.
Yeah, they're probably locked in them, right? But you have to take out the games played as a forward.
That was like 2 years.
I don't think you do, because I don't think
No,
he was
you
very
don't.
productive in those years.
He was still back checking.
So he
Yeah.
has more points than Eric Carlson will
He went
pass
on some
him.
playoff runs too,
Gonchaw's
didn't he?
gone to the Hall of Fame, correct?
I don't think so.
I
Did he?
don't-
Or was he just a nominee?
Well, I mean, everyone's technically a nominee.
Rob Blake, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, Rob Blake would be a Hall of Famer.
Okay, so he's below him in games played and points.
Yeah,
Chris Letang,
like Naeem says, we kind of forget how good Brent Burns was for a while there.
Scott
No.
Niedermeyer,
Mhm.
more points in games than him.
All right,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Coomzy, let's just wrap up. Give me a key to victory for our friends at Sure Power Sports and Marine. What do you think the Oil got to do tonight if they're going to beat Carolina?
Having some special teams would be good. Getting a power play goal would be nice. Solid goaltending would be good too. You need the Stuart Skinner that is the starting goalie as opposed to Stuart Skinner that makes everyone nervous.
I think it's going to be very hard for the Oilers offense to keep being bad for more than 6, 7, 8 games. So I think they're due for a really good performance at some point. I'm less confident in the goaltending quickly bouncing back. I think at some point Skinner gets going. So I agree that they probably need a really good effort here from Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, I'm thinking the power play has got to bust out tonight.
Yep, that is fair. Coomzy, appreciate you popping on. Look forward to doing this throughout the year.
No problem.
There you go. Our pal Cam Lewis from Blue Jays Nation and Oilers Nation on the Star Mechanical guest line. Check them out online once again at starmechanical.ca. We kept Coomzy a little bit long there because Jay said he needs more time to do whatever he's doing, eat lunch. He's probably in meetings. He's a very busy guy. Do you want to give me a key to victory for our friends at Short Power Sports and Marine?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Maynard's. And I mean, it's a very simple one, and it's the most obvious one ever. Score more goals than them, because quite frankly, you're just not scoring goals when you play against a good goalie. You know, we were kind of joking around before you got here today, Tyler, of like, we spoke about it yesterday, the blame Skinner got in some of these games. It's like, well, you lost 6-0 to Winnipeg and 4-1 to Dallas.
Yep.
Against two really good goalies. Freddie Anderson is consistently solid, especially now that he's with Carolina and has pretty good career numbers against the others too. Obviously, dating back from when he was a Duck. So they got to get to him. These stars got to pull through. I also would love for those 4 wingers on the wings of Draisaitl and McDavid to really prove the point of like, no, we're actually good enough to play with these two, and you don't need to put them together.
Yeah, totally. Shout out to our friends, by the way, Short Power Sports and Marine. They're home of the $50 bi-weekly ATV. You can be on a boat next summer for as low as $105 bi-weekly. They are hockey fans helping hockey fans with motorcycles, quads, e-bikes, boats. Their service department is unbelievable. Whether you're looking to get your boat serviced or anything like that, they do great work at Short Power Sports and Marine. Once again, hockey fans helping hockey fans. Can't wait till we get out there to do a live show again right away. All right. Continuing along with things here.
Okay.
Key to victory. I like yours. I like Coomzy. I'm going to say Stuart Skinner. I think if he plays well, the Oilers offense will get theirs tonight. On the other side is Freddie Anderson. And I mean, he's the projected starter over on dailyfaceoff.com. He's having a really good year though. Totally. Like, again, I'm still of the belief though, that if the Oilers offense is on, it doesn't matter. Like they beat Jake Ottinger in a best of 7 series last year. They can solve any goalie when they're humming. It'll just be interesting to see if Freddie Anderson can continue his hot streak. Because on one end, it's like, whoa, 936, 153. This guy's unreal. It's been 2 games. 2 good games does not really equal a hot streak for me. So Freddie Anderson might be due for a little regression here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Freddie Anderson is a good goalie. There's no denying that. But this Carolina blue line isn't what it once was. No Brent Pesce. Brady Shea is gone now too. Still good players. Obviously, Burns, like we said. Slavin's probably pretty underrated, but I mean, Sean Walker and Shane Gostisbehere is not exactly the most defensive unit in the world, are they? So the Oilers should be able to score on this blue line in comparison to previous years when they even put 6 up on that blue line last year, which is way better.
Oh yeah, like again, Sean Walker. Okay, the top pairing is elite.
It's one of the best.
Slavin and Burns is very good. Gostisbehere and Walker is good.
Yeah,
but it's not like
it. I don't dislike it. Sorry.
Yeah, and Orlov and Chatfield is also good. Like it's a solid blue line. It's top 10 without a doubt. It's probably top 5 still, but it's not 1. Last year I would have had it at 1.
I think it was the best last year. Yeah, probably top 10. I have to look around.
Yeah, they did lose Brady Shea and Brett Pesce off their blue line. If you're wondering why we're viewing it as a bit of a drop off, because going from Shea and Pesce to Gostisbehere and Walker is a step back, flat out. So, all right. Starting goalies, Anderson, Skinner, those are the D pairings. Do you want to quickly give me the forward lines again for the Hurricanes? I know we kind of ripped through it, but Svechnikov with Aho and Jarvis, Jackson Blake with Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Martin Necas. Again, that second line has been pretty productive. Jackson Blake is off to a really good start so far this season with 3 goals on the year. Jordan Stahl centers the third line. He's got a couple. Will Carrier and local boy Jordan Martinook on the left side. Jack Drury, another one of their Nepo babies, with Eric Robinson and Jack Roslovic. 3 goals on the year for Roslovic as well. Their top power play unit is Jarvis, Aho, Necas, Svechnikov, and Gostisbehere. And as we pull that back, look who's here wearing a flannel and a vest and out of breath.
I ran.
From where?
From home?
I had a speaking engagement.
Oh, was it fun?
It was great. It was actually really good, and all the conversations after it. Next thing you know, I looked at my watch. I'm like, it's 12:20. I need to be somewhere.
Do you want me to put you, because we still got 20 minutes left in the show. We got a ton of time. Do you want me to put you through the gauntlet of everything we've talked about so far?
Hit me.
Starting Skinner over Pickard, right or wrong call?
Meh. I'm not upset either way. I'm not happy with Skinner's play, so maybe you play Pickard, but whatever.
Just quickly, because you're out of breath. Ryan says practicing for the 5K in Denver. Cody, 5K in Denver training.
I just ran no Ks, and I am huffing and puffing. So,
you weren't like down the street. You were
from my car.
Oh,
yeah,
good hustle. I mean,
so probably under 100 meters, maybe 110 hurdle length.
Darnell Nurse on the right side of the blue line
Just
tonight.
Put him on the other side. Flip him over.
Surely this can't go poorly, right?
That's an extremely interesting move. What has Stetcher done to be kicked out of the lineup?
Stetcher's playing. Emerson's out.
Emerson got booted.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I do have my
but
contacts.
either way,
just flip them over. That's what you do with these guys. These high performing athletes, you just play them on their wrong side. Flip them over there. That's what I say.
Cam brought up a point that I found interesting, and that was, if it works, does it then change how you look at upgrading your blue line at the deadline? And just to give people a little bit of context into who's available as right shots and then comparing it as left shots, these are the pending UFA right shot defensemen, and it's sorted by their time on ice per game last season. So there's Yokoharu, who's number 1 in Buffalo, who I actually don't mind. Buffalo's got to fall out of it, though. I'll ignore some of the obvious ones that you don't go get. Neil Pionk in Winnipeg, he's not going to be available. David Savard in Montreal is probably just a little bit too old and slow. Will Borgen in Seattle, I actually like, but he's a lower tier kind of upgrade compared to where I think they'll be looking. Brent Burns in Carolina, I doubt they trade Brent Burns because, again, they're trying to be a playoff team. Ekblad in Florida, doubt he's available. Fabro in Nashville. If Nashville keeps stinking, maybe Fabro's available, but again, not exactly like he would be like a B+ upgrade for me, not an A+, but if you switch it and look at the lefties and do the same thing, there's Marcus Peterson in Pittsburgh, not great. Jacob Chikrin in Washington.
They ain't touching them.
If they fall out of it, though, if they stink, sure, maybe. Sure. Shea Theodore in Vegas, they're not moving him. Gavrikov in LA, I doubt they trade him here.
You love Gavrikov.
But if they do end up moving on from, if they stink, that's when, again, they have to stink for him to be available.
The Darcy Kemper effect.
Provorov in Columbus is a lefty. Martinez in Chicago, he's old. Ryan Lindgren in New York, they ain't trading him. Orlov in Carolina, again, doubt they're trading him. Ian Cole in Utah, doubt they're trading him. Brian Dumoulin in Anaheim is somewhat of an interesting piece. But again, just kind of talk about that idea of, could it work? There's not that many lefties available either.
There's something on Gavrikov too. He plays on the right side.
He's a lefty that plays on the right side.
Yeah, because now that Dowdy's out.
Over.
Oh,
just
yeah.
flip him.
So you can just flip him over.
Flip him over. Anyone.
Easy.
Put a forward on defense. Flip him back.
Do you like that they're splitting up McDry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Hello.
That's the whole take. Hello.
Well,
wakey.
This is all something we've been saying since they put McDry back together. We've been asking for this every second of every day for them to do this. So, yeah.
Term of the day, flip them over. Yeah, I agree. Like, and here's the other thing too, and I agree and understand the point Chili brought up in the chat earlier, where having to go to the blender and having to pull Emerson out of the lineup and put McDavid and Draisaitl together and all the things you did over the last week with your lineup. It's a product of them being under 500. And like, if you were winning games and if the power play was scoring a goal or two every night and the big guns were carrying you a little bit, and maybe the goaltending held up, then maybe you could sit there and say, hey, we're going to have patience with Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Skinner. We're going to have patience with Ty Emerson. But you lose the ability to have that patience when you're losing hockey games. If they can put together a win streak, I would like to see, and granted, now I'm speaking, it's very obvious. If you start winning, you're not going to change things up. But if they can put together a nice little run, I want to see Emberson get 5 straight games with a consistent partner. He's young. See what you have in him. I'd like to see Arvidsson and Skinner play 5-6 straight games with Leon Draisaitl. Let them develop chemistry. See what you have there. I just don't like the idea of every time you lose a hockey game, you got to panic button, change up the lines. Maybe I shouldn't expect that because every coach we've seen in Edmonton does the exact same thing. So maybe there's a reason behind it, but I just wish we'd have a bit more consistency.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to see what Skinner and Arvidsson can do specifically. I'm like, there's all this talk.
You got to give them time, though.
You
got to give them time.
And like, there's this talk. It's like we need Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman to get going
On the power play.
You need Nuke to get going too. Like, there's a ton of guys. I just think you got to give them a go, like you said.
Yeah, Southpaw says if the big guns were contributing, then others and the new guys could settle in. Streeter is in, says, saw a funny tweet earlier this week, quote, leave it to the Oilers to get 2 bona fide wingers for Draisaitl and proceed to play him with neither winger. We talked about our keys to victory. If you wanted to do, it's not a key to victory, you call it like a spotlight player tonight, let's go Victor Arvidsson. I'm seeing him fall down a lot. He hasn't produced a lick. At least Jeff Skinner has 4 points on the season and has been a little bit engaged. Arvidsson has not really been drawing penalties, has been taking penalties, hasn't been particularly effective on the forecheck. We haven't seen those rat qualities that drove us nuts when we faced him against the LA Kings.
Give him some time. He
I know.
essentially didn't play a season of hockey last year. This is like similar. So similar, same, but different to Connor Brown, right? Like coming back from double knee surgery. And taking a little while to, find his bearings. We all hope and the expectation is Victor Arvidsson figures it out sooner rather than later, but just, we got to give him, honestly, you got to give this guy 2 months. I know, but it's the reality though. It's the reality. You got to give this guy some time.
It's not quite the same as Brown because he did play at the end of last season, right? So
yeah, that's why I said same, but different. But it took him a while to recover from that. And not saying that Brown's lighting the world on fire right now, but he does look good, right? So
yeah,
we got to be patient with that. Skinner's kind of figuring it out on the fly and making himself useful rather quickly. But for them to play with Dry, also playing with Dry is very difficult, right?
Yeah.
You got to learn how to play with Leon Draisaitl because he does things that you don't expect, and you got to go to areas that you don't expect to get the puck because he will find you. So there's a whole learning process. The shitty thing is our record suggests that we need to start winning some games, and we don't have any time or patience because we got to get the season back on the rails.
Fair.
But you got to give him time. They got to get some wins.
The good news is Warren Fogle also has 0 points. So we could be having a conversation about Arvidsson will get going because he had the injury last season. Or we could be talking about Fogle being like, damn, why did we sign this guy to a 3x3? So I'm glad we got Arvidsson. See what happens.
Let's get to our game day betting challenge brought to you by Bet365, the largest sports betting platform globally. You can get in on the action today. Download the app and use the promo code OILYBONUS. That's OILYBONUS. All capitals, all one word. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. First off, because we like to do this in our betting segment, football last night. The Monday night games were very good. The one went right down to the wire.
Godwin.
Poor Chris Godwin, I know.
Man,
his ankle was the other way.
I know, the injury looked bad, and the fact that it was in garbage time.
Why was he out there?
Why were any of them out there?
Yeah.
Did you lose Evans and Godwin in the same night?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
And your playoff.
I'm not even a Bucks fan, but I do obviously have a soft spot for Baker Mayfield, so I'm a Baker Mayfield fan.
Oh yeah, the Browns, big injury.
Yeah. Also tonight in the NHL, before we get specifically into the Oilers stuff, it is Frozen Frenzy tonight. Every single team is in action. The games are staggered 15 minutes apart. And I did it so you don't have to. I put together a 16-leg money line parlay, $1 into $34,000.
Let's go.
All I have to do is correctly predict all 16 games tonight. I got the Capitals, Panthers, Lightning, Sabres, Rangers, Leafs, Red Wings, Jets, Hawks, Avs, Preds, Oilers, Utah, Pittsburgh, Vegas, and Anaheim. If those 16 win, $1 into $34,000.
Nashville gets their first win.
Nashville gets their first
Who
win.
do they play?
Boston.
Oh.
They're due.
Oh.
Any team, you either, as if you want my justification for any of those games, one of the teams is either due or one of them is hot. And
My justification, it would be one of them has to win.
that's also fair.
That's fair.
That is also fair.
Yeah. 16 times. That's my justification.
Someone said, seriously, the Blackhawks, they're hosting Vancouver. They're plus 150. I don't know. Yet all the favorites aren't going to win. Someone said, and the Ducks. They're playing San Jose. Canucks are not losing to the Hawks. I also thought the Oilers were not losing to the Hawks, but look at that.
Oh, we're losing everyone.
Yeah, that's fair.
2-9-1 is still on the table, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Again, like not all the results tonight are going to be like easy to predict. So I did just look at a couple and go, you know what? That's an upset. That's an upset. There's no logic.
There's got to be upsets. It's,
Got to be upsets.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this game tonight for the Oilers.
No, we have to talk about what happens if you win. What do Liam and I get?
Yeah. What's in it for us?
Donuts.
Ooh. All right.
34 grand. I bring in donuts.
How about
That'd be really good
what
I
do
get to buy a
want?
new car. I do need that.
How about I'll take a Ty Emberson jersey.
Are you going to do a 16 leg parlay with $1 on it?
I will do a 16 leg parlay with $1 on it.
Do you
So
know
then
what
if
I
you
might
win,
do?
I want a jersey too.
Yeah, it's like me and my buddy. We do the Millie Maker.
Yeah.
We alternate weeks.
I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna do it with points. Like pick one player from every game.
You get a point?
Yeah, point.
It
Oh,
seems like a lot of administration.
Uh,
What is that?
Oilers tonight, minus 125 favorites on home ice against the Canes. The over-under is set at an even 6 tonight. Connor McDavid, where's his point total in this one? Because that is one spot that I find interesting right now is just the point totals for the Oilers because we're not at the point where they're hot and everything's all juiced up. McDavid over 1.5 points is plus 120. Draisaitl to get a point, minus 225. But let's get into our game day betting challenge. None of us have won any of our picks yet so far this season.
Nope.
I'll go first. Zach Hyman.
We're due.
Yeah, we're due. Zach Hyman has had 9 shots in his last 2 games. Hyman, 3+ shots on goal. He's gone 5 and 4 in the last 2. I'm knocking it down 1. Hyman to score, plus 200. He's due. I'm due. He's due. Everyone's due. Hyman shot prop and the goal on the same game tool for Bet365 plus 200. Liam, what do you got?
Huge assist.
You're just nice little layup plus
Yeah,
140.
I mean, like you said,
Specific to an assist. Oof. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
I just think
Power
someone's
play. Yep.
one of the three of us has got to win tonight.
We're scoring
Yeah.
a power play goal tonight.
Oh, we have to, right?
For the love of baby Nuge.
Jesus and Nuge.
Jay, your pick.
Plus 140.
I was late to the party. I texted in on the way here.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Skinner goal.
Skinner goal. Jeff Skinner
I think
revenge game.
he's staying hot. It is a revenge game. That is correct.
Yeah. Jeff Skinner revenge game. He's going to score plus
260.
260.
Wow.
Plus 260.
Nice and juicy.
Okay. Don't mind that at all. Darnell Nurse on the right side. Stuart Skinner gets the call between the pipes tonight. Oh, Jay, I'll let you do your Power Sports and Marine key to victory.
Honestly, actually, I was talking to someone who's good at this job. I'm not good at this job.
Mm.
The power of silence. And I opened up with a nice silent stretch there. But really, I was thinking. Key to victory, solid goaltending, and this is 2 keys. So the keys to victory. And the power play's gotta click. It's gotta click. We gotta capitalize. Amongst 4 million other things, but those are the 2 I'm honing it on.
Jay given multiple keys to victory because Sherwood Power Sports and Marine can help you out with multiple things. Motorcycle, quads, e-bikes, boats. They truly do it all at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. This has been a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. 1 of 2 this week for us because tonight it is Carolina. Friday, Sid and the boys are in town.
Sid and the boys are in town.
I love Pittsburgh on the money line tonight, by the way.
Is
Everyone
it in your parlay?
It is in my parlay. Everyone's been like, oh my God, the Penguins, they're terrible. The goaltending. They're 3 and 4 to start the year.
Who are they playing?
Calgary, and they're minus 105. I feel like that's a mispriced line.
Who's that goalie?
Yoel
that
Yoel
rookie guy.
Blomqvist, the kid, and he's been great. And he's actually, Frank said that teams were calling them at the deadline last year, being like, hey, will you send us him? Like, you don't need him. And Pittsburgh was like, nope, future starter, not moving him. And now he's kind of blossomed into that. So I love Pittsburgh. What was my other play? The over in Toronto and Columbus was the other one I like. So Calgary's due for a loss. They're 4-0-1. Come on. It's the Flames.
Yeah, that's why you should, when you come into this chat most days, and you can vent away.
Mhm.
Fine with it. We do it.
I'm going to do a Pittsburgh Oilers parlay.
There you go.
But when you when you talk about the others, be like, we're so toast. Just go look and see who's first in the Pacific. Just go look and see that Calgary is first and realize, oh yeah, that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Just like the others being 2 and 4 is not sustainable.
Exactly. All right. Appreciate you guys both popping on. Or, well, it's your job. Appreciate you
Better
popping
late
on.
than never, right?
There you go. Shout out to Bag Milks Podcast. New episode drops every Wednesday. New episode of Oilers Nation Radio dropping later this afternoon. And then it's pre-gaming with Boardsy, post-game Beatcast edition. BM is swinging by with Aaron to break down tonight's hockey game. Should be a good one. Plenty of content on the Oilers Nation YouTube. So make sure you are subscribed. You got to be subscribed. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. You know the drill. ONR, pre-game, post-game, busy day for us here at Oilers Nation. Also, Liam's got game notes on the site. I got a new piece coming up at 4 along with all the other game day fun. Enjoy the hockey game tonight. And guess what? We are going to be back right here tomorrow at noon Mountain Time. We'll chat with you then. Oil up.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.